Hello and welcome. On 11 July 2023, 50th meeting of the GST Council was held. During this meeting, the GST Council has come up with several recommendations and this is quite extensive. We can classify these changes into three broad heads. 1. Changes in the rate of GST on certain goods or services. For instance, there is an increase in GST on online gaming transactions. 2. Measures to facilitate trade. This can include certain exemptions, relaxations or benefits to taxpayers. 3. Measures to strengthen compliances. For instance, to effectively deal with fake or fraudulent registrations, the Council has come up with measures to strengthen GST registration process. So in today's video, let's talk about some of these changes. To be precise, we are going to discuss about 8 key changes proposed during this meeting. First, online gaming. As of now, 18% GST is applicable on the commission earned by these online gaming platforms, and there is a clear distinction between game of skill and game of chance. While game of skill is taxed at 18% GST, game of chance at 28% GST. Let's now talk about the changes proposed. The rate of GST is proposed to be increased to 28%, and this 28% is applicable not just on the commission part but on the full value of the bets that you place, that is on the full value of the deposit that you make with these platforms. And this change has also put an end to the concept of difference between game of skill and game of chance, because now both these transactions are going to be taxed at 28% GST. For casinos, 28% GST on the full value of the chips that you buy, and for horse riding it is 28% on the full value of the bets that you place. Next, supplying food or beverages in cinema halls. This is a clarification. 5% GST would be applicable on food or beverages supplied in the cinema halls if this is not clubbed with cinema ticket charges. Of course, the supplier would not be able to avail input tax credit if 5% GST is charged. But if this is clubbed with cinema ticket charges, that is, let's say you have a single invoice for cinema ticket as well as for food or beverages that you have ordered, then 18% GST would be applicable on the full value. So if you buy food or beverages separately, then the supplier would be required to charge you only 5% GST. Third change is for GTAs, Goods Transport Agencies. As of now, RCM is applicable on GTA transactions where the consignor or consignee would be required to pay GST under reverse charge mechanism. But if GTAs wish to pay GST, that is, if GTAs wish to opt for forward charge, then this can be done by filing Annexure 5, and this is a yearly requirement, and there is a time limit within which this Annexure 5 has to be filed. Let us now talk about the changes proposed. This yearly requirement of filing Annexure 5 is no more going to be applicable, because once this is filed, it is going to be valid even for subsequent years till the GTA wants to switch back to RCM. And there is a time limit within which this Annexure 5 has to be filed, and as of now this time limit is from 1st Jan to 15th March of the preceding financial year. In the 50th meeting, it is proposed to extend this time limit to 31st March of the preceding financial year. For better understanding, let's say you are a GTA and for financial year 2024-25, let's say you want to opt for forward charge either for the first time, or let's say you are switching from RCM to forward charge. So you would be required to file this Annexure 5. And this Annexure 5 can be filed from 1st Jan 2024 to 31st March 2024. And once this is filed, it is going to be valid even for subsequent years. This is a welcome move. If you would like to know how to file this Annexure 5 on the GST portal, you may consider watching my earlier video, the link in the top right corner. Next change, services by directors to the company. We know that when a director, not being an employee, provides services to the company, then the company would be required to pay GST under reverse charge mechanism. Here it is proposed to issue a clarification. This RCM liability in the hands of the company would be applicable only on services provided in the capacity of the director. To put it differently, if the service is provided in personal capacity, say for instance, the director rents his or her immovable property to the company, then such transactions are not covered under RCM, and the director would be required to obtain GST registration. Of course, this is subject to threshold limit of 20 lakh. If the annual income is more than 20 lakh, then the director would be required to obtain GST registration and pay 18% GST. Next, registration. Here we have two things. First, we know that we can get ourselves registered on the GST portal online, and once we do that, we have got 45 days time limit to update PAN linked bank account details on the GST portal. During the 50th meeting, it is proposed to reduce this 45-day time limit to 30 days from the grant of registration or before filing your GSTR1 or IFF, whichever is earlier. For instance, let's say the date of your registration is 25th June 2023, and let's assume you have opted for monthly filing of GST returns. Even though the 30-day time limit would be over by 24th July 2023, you have to update bank account details on or before 11 July 2023, that is the last date to file your R1. If you don't do this, then your registration would be automatically suspended, meaning you would not be able to file your R1 or IFF. But once you update the bank account details, this suspension would be automatically revoked, so you don't have to do anything about it. Now, why these many complications? It is stated that these measures would help effectively deal with fake or fraudulent registrations, which is so rampant. And we have some data here. During the recent 2-month All India Special Drive against fake GST registrations, which was conducted from 16th May and which ended on 15th July, about 4,900 GST registrations have been cancelled because these were fake, and about 15,000 crore tax evasion has been detected. So it is stated that these strengthening measures would help effectively deal with fake or fraudulent registration issues in future. Now the second part, physical verification. Physical verification can now be conducted by the GST officer even in the absence of the applicant. Let's say you have applied for GST registration and the GST officer wants to visit your business premises for physical verification. Now this physical verification can be conducted even in your absence. And for high-risk cases, even where the application is Aadhaar authenticated, physical verification is going to be mandatory. Next change, annual returns. Similar to financial year 2021-22, certain exemptions and relaxations have been extended even for financial year 2022-23. First, let's talk about exemptions. If your aggregate annual turnover is up to 2 crore during financial year 2022-23, then filing of GSTR 9 is optional for you. Similarly, if you are a composition taxpayer where the turnover is up to 1.5 crore, filing of GSTR 9A is optional. We had a similar exemption even for GSTR 9C, which is missing. Probably we'll have to wait for it. Then relaxations. During financial year 2021-22, various tables of GSTR 9 and 9C were made optional. For instance, HSN summary of purchases was optional for financial year 2021-22. Such relaxations are going to continue even for financial year 2022-23. Next, GST Amnesty Scheme 2023. This was introduced to provide relief or waiver to certain taxpayers. For instance, let's say you are a composition taxpayer and if you have not filed GSTR 4, or let's say you have not filed your GSTR 9 or 10, or let's say your GST registration was cancelled and you are not able to apply for revocation of cancellation. This GST Amnesty Scheme provided an opportunity to such taxpayers to comply with the requirements, and there was a time limit within which this was to be done, and the time limit was from 1st April to 30th June 2023. In the 50th meeting, it is proposed to extend this time limit further to 31st August 2023. So if you have not taken benefit of this scheme, you still have time till 31st August 2023. If you would like to know some of the features of this GST Amnesty Scheme, you may consider watching my earlier video, the link in the top right corner. Now the last change, difference in input tax credit between your GSTR 3B and GSTR 2A. During 48th meeting of the GST Council, it was proposed to introduce a procedure to verify such ITC differences, and this procedure was applicable only for financial year 2017-18 and financial year 2018-19. In the 50th meeting, it is proposed to extend this even to subsequent financial years. This is a welcome change. Now, this procedure is going to be applicable till 31st December 2021 because from 1st Jan 2022, GSTR 2A is no more relevant because GSTR 2B has been introduced. If you would like to know what exactly is this process which the GST officer is going to follow to verify ITC differences, you may consider watching my earlier video, the link in the top right corner. These are the 8 changes which I wanted to discuss in this video. As of now, these are only recommendations. These changes would be effective once CBIC starts issuing relevant notifications, and I think CBIC has already started issuing some of the notifications. This is all I have for you today. Hope the video was informative. Thank you for watching.